I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you to pray for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg because Trump and his followers were going to come after him. And that is exactly that's exactly what's happening. I tell you, what has happened this week has the hair on the back of my neck standing up. As a criminal defense attorney or civil rights attorney, what I'm seeing Trump do allegedly is just disturbing. I mean, disturbing. I want to talk about it for a few minutes. Stay with me. We'll get right into it. Now, there may have been some difficulty just then with my mic. All I was saying is I told you that we needed to pray for Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. I said last week in a video that Trump was going to come after him, and that is exactly what is appearing to happen. It seems like Trump and his followers are coming after that man and his family, from what I understand, and they're coming at him ferociously. All right? So let me show you what I mean. So here is a photo. Here's a photo that Donald Trump allegedly posted on his social media channel, what is it, the Truth Social, something that he started. And look at what it actually shows. It appears to show Trump in a photo with a bat. And beside his photo is a picture of DA Alvin Bragg. So Trump has a bat in his hand, and he's looking at Alvin Bragg as if he wants to beat him over the head with that bat. Now, I'm not certain that Trump posted this, but it has, at least this photo has his photo here. It has his handle at Real Donald Trump. Again, I assume that he posted it. I don't know. Allegedly, he posted this. If he posted this, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. And I would say, under Texas law, this would be a threat of a public servant. Now, before I get into it, let me back up and tell you that you're watching The Defiant Lawyers. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers, also known as the Minister of Justice. Each and every Saturday, my daughter and I bring you a legal analysis of trending politics, policies, personalities, and pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, share, like, comment, engage, and help us grow this channel, because we're putting out some top quality content every single week. In fact, this morning I already shot one show with some special guests where we discuss school shootings. If you have a son or daughter in public school, you need to go to our channel and listen to that video. I have a principal and his wife who was a licensed practicing clinician, a school counselor, and they talked about school shootings from both the mental illness side of things and as well as how to prevent it. So go watch that video. I did that this morning. But this is my second video. I had to do this show today. Former President Trump threatened DA Alvin Bragg allegedly. And I told you in a video from last week that we needed to keep Alvin Bragg and his family in our prayers. I told you. I knew it was going to happen. Now, again, Look at this photo. This is a photo of Donald Trump holding a bat while looking at Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. If any of us did that, we would already be in jail. We would be in jail right now. Donald Trump allegedly does this and posted on social media, and very little seems to be said. What is that called? That's white privilege. That is our two justice systems in your face. And why does it concern me so much? Because I am a criminal defense and civil rights attorney. I represent people every day who are involved in the legal system, who are accused of crimes or who have been victims of racial bias or racism or racial discrimination. And I'm telling you, for us regular people, if we posted a picture of us with a bat or some other deadly weapon in our hand alongside the picture of a police officer or the DA or some other public servant, we would already be in jail right now. Yet Trump allegedly does this. And again, very little is being said. What is going on in this nation? Or what has gone on? This is nothing new. Again, this is called white privilege. That's what this is. All right, let's go back and look at that photo again because, again, just based on the strength of that photo, in the state of Texas, I can't comment on New York law. I'm not a New York lawyer. I'm a Texas lawyer. And I'm here to tell you that under Texas law, this would be a third-degree felony. Let's read this. I want you to read this statute with me. A person commits, this is Texas Penal Code Section 22.01, and it discusses assaults. It says a person commits an offense if the person intentionally or knowingly threatens another with imminent bodily injury. Now, you may say, Trump is not saying anything here. This is him allegedly in this photo holding a bat. So this is not a threat because it's not being verbalized. Well, under Texas law, it would still be a threat. And you'll see why if we keep reading. So again, a person commits an offense if the person intentionally or knowingly threatens another with imminent bodily injury, including the person's spouse. An offense under this subsection A1 is a Class A misdemeanor, which carries, by the way, up to 1 year in jail, except that the offense is a felony of the third degree, which carries up to 10 years in the penitentiary, if the offense is committed against a person the actor knows is a public servant. So, is Alvin Bragg a public servant? And does Trump know he's a public servant? Yes to both of those questions. So therefore, that makes this a felony of the third degree or a third degree felony. So it says if the person knows is a public servant while the public servant is lawfully discharging an official duty. Is it an official duty for Alvin Bragg to be presenting evidence reportedly to a New York grand jury? Of course it's official. It's his official duty. And if the threat is made in retaliation or on account of an exercise of official power or performance of an official duty as a public servant. And here's the language for those of you who say, well, it's not being verbalized. Still, it says a threat can be communicated by action or conduct as well as words. That's most versus state. So this is an appellate court saying that a threat does not have to be verbalized. It can be an action or conduct. So if this photo meets the elements of this statute, which again just simply requires that a person intentionally or knowingly, well, that is met because somebody had to intentionally and knowingly post that photo, threatens another with imminent bodily injury. Well, it's certainly a threatening gesture to post yourself with a bat alongside a picture of another person. And in this instance, that other person is a public servant. That, therefore, would make this what? A third-degree felony, which again carries up to 10 years in the penitentiary if this happened in Texas. Now, again, I don't know New York law. I don't know if they have a similar statute. I'm not sure. But in Texas, this would be a big deal. I've represented people on this charge. I've represented folks on this charge. The last person my firm represented on this charge was someone who was accused of saying something threatening to a lawyer. And lawyers in the state of Texas are considered public servants, and this person was charged with this offense. Okay? Was charged with this offense. We had to fight that case hard. So if that law would be applied towards someone threatening an attorney, Alvin Bragg is an attorney. He's the district attorney. So this statute would certainly apply to someone posting a picture of himself with a bat looking at the DA as if to say, I'm going to clobber him with this bat. Now, again, these are allegations, haven't been proven true. We don't know if Trump posted this or someone else. We don't know. So I'm not saying he's been convicted of this. I'm saying that allegedly he has threatened Alvin Bragg, DA for Manhattan. And I'm just asking the question, why isn't that being investigated? Why hasn't Trump been locked up? Why hasn't he been charged with this like the rest of us would have been for sure? I mean, this is amazing. I mean, what we're witnessing Trump get away with. I mean, he's just literally getting away with things here that the rest of us, no way. Absolutely not. Okay? Now, I told you last week that in addition to, going after Alvin Bragg, in addition to that, we needed to keep Alvin Bragg and his family in prayer for other reasons as well. For example, this is something else that Trump allegedly posted on social media. He said, what kind of person can charge another person, in this case a former president of the United States, who got more votes than any sitting president in history? Not true. And leading candidate by far for the Republican Party nomination? That may be true, but it's pitiful if it is true. With the crime, when it is known by all? Not true. It's not known by all. Michael Cohen and others believe that Trump did do what he is accused of doing, which is paying some hush money to Stormy Daniels, because of a sexual encounter. That's what is alleged. And such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country. Watch this. Let's go back to sentence. When it is known by all that no crime has been committed, and also known that potential death and destruction in such a false charge could be catastrophic. Oh, I'm sorry. That is. Be quiet, Siri. Hey, Siri, be quiet. Siri's getting involved in this conversation. But death and destruction, that takes me back to January 6th. I mean, he said incendiary things like that and caused people to storm the Capitol. He didn't learn from his lesson because he's not held accountable. Because he's not held accountable, he just continues to do these things. And so once again, he is calling for death and destruction if he's indicted? I mean, where is the accountability? I mean, where is it? And it goes on. And such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country. Why and who would do such a thing? Watch this. Only a degenerate psychopath that truly hates the USA. So he calls Alvin Bragg a degenerate psychopath merely, and reportedly for trying to hold Donald Trump accountable. Something that the GOP, the Republican Party, clearly is not doing. And that is endangering all of us. All of us. Trump goes on to say, these are some things he released on his social media page just this past week. He says, why won't Bragg drop this case? Everybody says there's no crime here. Not true. I did nothing wrong. Not sure about that. It was all made up by a convicted nut job with zero credibility. He's talking about Michael Cohen. And let's just stop. Let's pause there for a second. Trump is calling the man who represented him in many instances and did his bidding and who ended up going to prison partly for the representation that he provided Trump, calling that same man a convicted nut job with zero credibility. Although he hired that man, retained him to represent him for years. But, wow. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. But anyway, let's go back. So he says zero credibility, who has been disputed by highly respected professionals at every turn. Bragg refuses to stop despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. He is a Soros-backed animal. Calls Bragg an animal. That's racist. That is racist. To refer to an African-American person as an animal is classic textbook definition racism. But we're not surprised by that because Trump has shown his racism over the years many, 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 many times. It doesn't even seem to shock anyone anymore. In fact, it seems to endear him to tens of millions of people. The more outrageously racist he is, the more they want him in office. A sad state our country is in. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Guess what else happened this past week? MSNBC and other news outlets are reporting that Bragg received a death threat letter with white powder in it. Now, reportedly, the white powder was harmless, but it just shows you they're coming at him. And in that letter basically said, we're coming to get you. We're going to kill you, Alvin Bragg. And again, much of this is the result of the things, the incendiary things that Trump is saying all over social media about Alvin Bragg. And folks, this is a former president. This is not a thug. Pardon me. This is not someone who is a card-carrying member of a street gang. Let's put it that way. Okay? We could certainly make the case that he's a thug. All right? But my point is he was a sitting president of the United States of America for 4 years. And as he said, millions upon millions upon millions of people voted for him despite this behavior. Despite this behavior. A former president with a bat standing beside a DA. I thought these were law and order folks. I thought the GOP was the law and order people. Yet they've stuck with this man despite what he's done. Even with the January 6, 2021 storming of the Capitol, where 5 people died, including law enforcement officers, still stuck with him. Still stuck with him. Okay? So this is just amazing to witness this and to see where our country is. It's always, from an African-American perspective, it's always been in a bad state. I mean, slavery to Jim Crow to systemic racism. But to see a president behave this way with impunity, and every time he does things like this, allegedly, and there's no accountability, it emboldens him. I mean, from my perspective, he is a rich, white, privileged man who has never been held accountable for anything all his life. All his life. And he's not being held accountable now. And again, it is endangering our nation. And this same man could become president again. This same man could become president again. It is just amazing. Now, as I get ready to go, Mr. Bragg did come out and make a statement after members of Congress, the House, Jim Jordan especially, requested documents from the Manhattan DA's office. That is interference with local governance. That is interference with the DA's office. And Alvin Bragg said that Jordan's inquiry, the GOP, the House GOP inquiry, is unprecedented intrusion. I agree. The GOP is supposed to be the party of states' rights. They have for years abhorred federal intrusion in states' rights issues. Yet here it is blatantly in an effort to protect Donald Trump. And reportedly, the same thing is happening in Fulton County, Georgia, where the Georgia legislature, which is controlled by the GOP, reportedly is also considering passing laws, taking measures to protect Trump from Fani Willis, the African-American DA in over Fulton County. I know it just gets under the craw of Trump that 3 black officials are trying to hold him accountable. Right? Letitia James, Attorney General of New York, Alvin Bragg, Manhattan DA, and Fani Willis, Fulton County DA. 3 African Americans trying to hold him accountable. I bet you that gets under the craw of this man and those who support him. Wow. Our country is in a sad state. We got to do everything we can to keep Mr. Trump from a second term. We must. And Ron DeSantis. He's just another version who is a little more polite, right? Who is a little more couth. Someone says that we've dealt with Jim Crow. Now we're dealing with James Crow Esquire. That's Ron DeSantis. We got to keep Jim Crow out in the persona of Donald Trump, and we got to keep James Crow Esquire out of office in the persona of Ron DeSantis and probably most of those GOP contenders, including Nikki Haley of South Carolina. All of them. It's just what is going on with the GOP is just it leaves your mouth open. Okay, they've been radicalized, hijacked, if you will. All right. Okay. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Go back, listen to the video that we did this morning on school shootings, and learn how you can help your community try to prevent community. Listen, there have been 2 school shootings within 20 miles or maybe 10 miles of my home here in the DFW area. Okay? So it can happen everywhere. You know what? If I stretch it out to 25 miles, there have been 3 in the last 2 years, 3 school shootings. 3. Mansfield Timberview, where my son went to high school. Lamar High School, which is in Arlington, Texas. And Thomas Jefferson, which is over in Dallas. 3 school shootings in my community. One of them in Mansfield Timberview, this is considered a suburban area. It tells you no community is exempt from this. So go listen to that video to find out what you can do to try to keep your kids safe and what you can do if a school shooting, unfortunately, happens in your community. So, all right, that is going to do it for us today. All right, let's see here. We are going to get out of here, and we appreciate you listening and visiting with us today. And I'm out. Peace, love, soul. Bye.